Okay? It's been a total disaster. It's been a disaster with the Secret Service protection of Donald Trump. It's been a disaster on the border. It's been a disaster with immigration. It's been a disaster with bail reforms. It's been a disaster with defund the police. There's really nothing that they have to run on, and we have so much that we can work with. So please, do whatever you can. You know, one of the other things, so I am not asking for a contribution, okay? So let's stop that one right there. But I am going to say, give a contribution to someone who is in a race. You know, whether it's me, whether it's the Globe, whether it's the City Council, because that's what we need to get our message, to get our voice to be heard. Put up a sign if you can. You need to participate in some way, at whatever level makes you comfortable.
I've always been a Trump fan, like a fan, since his Apprentice show. Before that, my father always admired him, you know, so president or not, I love him. I just love him, and of course, you know, I'm always gonna be with him, regardless. I think it's great. He's an amazing guy. I'm super proud to become American, so I can totally support him.
Thank you, Elena. Thanks for coming. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Giuseppe Lasaria. I'm the Secretary of the Staten Island Republican Party. Our Chairman, Mike Panusis, and Vice Chairman, Anthony Reinhardt, are in Milwaukee right now, with Congresswoman Valiadakis, Borough President Costello, Minority Leader Borelli, and Councilman Carr right now. You know, we have planned this event in advance to give President Trump street and to rally and have an opportunity to take back the White House. But this past Saturday, we weren't sure we were going to be able to do that. But thank God the President was fine. As Donald Trump Jr. said last night, he got shot, and 5 seconds later, he's up, defiant, and fighting back. That's what he's going to do to bring to our. That's what he's going to bring to our country. That's going to bring the resolve that we need on the world stage. But somebody didn't make it like Saturday. A true patriot lost his life. He was a firefighter. He shielded his daughter and his wife, and he took a bullet. Fortunately, he passed away. Tory Comparatore. If we have a moment of silence for him. Thank you. Before I introduce our guest speaker tonight, I just really want to acknowledge our sponsors who helped put this together. Carr for Council, David Carr, our councilman, thank you. County Committee Member, Robert Burkhead, thank you. Michael Gervaisi, thank you. George Passariello, thank you so much, George. Appreciate it. And Donna Scarcelli, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Also, Scott Lobedo for generous donation. Thank you so much, Scott. So, before I introduce our guest speaker, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about him. So, he won the 63rd Assembly District back in 2022, for the first time flipping it in Republican hands. Since the seat was created, it was always in Democratic hands. And he took it back in 2022, and he worked his ass off doing it. He's been a fighter in the Oldie, and he represents a true meaning of Republican and conservative values. And he's up for re-election this year, and we know he's going to win it, and he's going to take the seat back again and go back and fight for us in Oldie. So please, without further ado, Assemblyman Sam Pirozzolo.
How's everyone doing this evening? So when Giuseppe said Scalabago, I saw everybody turn around like we're Scalabago. So just to let you know, I spoke to him earlier this evening. He will probably be here around 9 o'clock. So I think 9 o'clock is what Trump speaks at that Central time, so we're going to have a good time here this evening. So a lot of people have been congratulating me for my showing, if you will, at the press conference that we have on Saturday, where we're talking about I really had thought about what questions would come my way, and the one question I was the most prepared for was when one of those fools said, but the guy was a Republican. Now, we all know that he really wasn't a Republican. He donated to the Democratic cause, and he probably received one of those letters like each of us may have received. You know, join the Democratic Party so you can influence the primary. So we know that he wasn't a Republican. But the nerve of the media to say or think that that absolves them of 10 plus years of hate. It is so bad that Morning Joe had their show canceled because the producers or whoever else, I don't know who it was concerned that they couldn't control what the guests or the hosts would say about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. So it's crazy. So just because this guy was a Republican, the thought process is that, well, you know what? It's not us. But look at that. You have Rachel Maddow, you have MSNBC, you have Morning Joe, you have The View, you have Joy Reid, or, I mean, you can probably name even more. That these people, for the last 10 plus years, ever since Trump came down that escalator, for the last 10 plus years, they have been saying the most vile things. He is Hitler. He's going to be Hitler. It's going to be a bloodbath. Anything they could take out of context, they took out of context and they ran with it. Joe Biden talking to donors, we have to put the cross, not the cross, what did he say? He has the bullseye on Trump, right? And then when he's talking to Lester Holt, oh, I meant crosshairs. Somebody just did that, you know? So it's really insane, you know, what's been going on in the media for the last 10 years, and they have. My good Frank. Something Frank? So, for the last 10 years, they've been doing this, and they think that they're going to get away with it. And there is no way on this planet that I would allow them to even consider getting away with it. And part of what I said before in the earlier part of my speech was that we have a right to our opinion. And for the last 10 years, we've been attacked. We've been beaten down. And one of the examples I used, which was the most fun, was that if I want to put a big T on my lawn, I have every right to do so. Okay? And there are so many times when I go walking door to door and I meet other Republicans and I ask them, you know, would you like a lawn sign? The answer is no, not really. I don't want to have a problem. You know, my neighbor's crazy or this and that. And I agree that our personal or your personal safety is paramount. But we need to stop hiding in the shadows. We need to come forward and we need to say that I support Donald Trump, and if you don't like it, I don't really care. Let me just say that I'm so happy to see so many of you here this evening, because the Republican Party is in a new phase. I mean, what just happened with Donald Trump is drawing so many people together to come and see and talk, and what's your opinion, what can we do, how can I help? So you probably make sure that Giuseppe has your email address, because what we're going to be doing is I've already spoken to the chair of Canusis, and to Anthony Reinhardt. I personally want to start what we're going to call, I don't want to call this squad, so we're going to call it an election integrity team. Because in 2019, I actually registered for work as a poll worker. Because I wanted to see what the education that they gave you is about what you can do and what you can't do. And I wanted to see what goes on in the polling site. And so one of the things, I just talk about a couple of things that I saw. One of the things they tell you is that if a Democrat or a Republican comes in and they want to vote for the opposite party, that's okay. You can't say you're a Democrat, you have to vote down the line. That's all we do. They're a Democrat, you have to vote down the line. So there are problems in our poll sites. Okay? So we need people not to cause trouble, but we need volunteers, like everybody that's here. Maybe we'll be standing outside the poll site. Another concern that I was given was that there were people outside the poll site and a van came up. And people who came out of the van did not necessarily speak English, but they were given a card to repeat that this is my name and I live here and I want to vote. Right? So we need to see if these things are happening. I don't necessarily believe that that's all happening. But you know what? Crazy times. Right? We have a president who was almost assassinated. If it weren't for just a twist of the head, we'd be having a very different meeting if we had a meeting at all. So our party is only going to be successful. Our party is only going to be strong. Our party is going to be great again, right? If we have people like you step up, come to the plate, and volunteer. So campaign headquarters is going to be opening up pretty soon. Please make sure that we get your information as far as your email address, your cell phone number. So listen, I tell my friend Bobby, another thing that happens when I go walking door to door, maybe we're all guilty of this. So I go walking door to door, and the guy goes, I talk to you about, I don't want to talk to you. I'm having dinner, I'm sleeping, I'm this. They don't want to talk to you. You call them on the phone, I don't want to talk to you. You send them a notice, please go out and vote, leave me alone. But then when you finally do get it, they go, how come nobody ever listens to me? Okay? Nobody ever listens because you do not want to participate. So participation is the key. This is our race to lose. The Democrats are 100% on the ropes. There's conversation going that Joe Biden is going to be out of the race by the end of this weekend. Who knows? I have a saying that we don't know what happened even after they tell us about it, right? So who knows with the Secret Service as far as what's going on. But this is our time to shine. And the way that we're going to shine is by coming together as a group, as a family, as friends, and as the Republican Party of Staten Island. This is who we are, this is what we're going to do, and we are going to make sure that Donald Trump rings clear. Let's try to get 100% of the vote here on Staten Island. Let's push for it, let's go for it, don't take crap from anybody. Okay, you have the right to express your opinion. So, that's not really all I have to say, but I do like to ask people every once in a while, like, if you have a question, you have an opinion on what's going on, what do you want to talk about? So 2 questions.
Sam, should we be voting early in person?
Yes, that's one part I left out. So that's another thing I get when I go door to door. I'm only going to vote on election day, leave me the F alone, right? Election day comes, hey Frank, can you go vote today? Nah, my wife is sick, the grandkids are sick, I got called into work. Early voting, 10 days before election day, is the equivalent, just as good and the same as you voting on election day. I beg you, please, I vote early voting all of the time. I'm busy on election day, okay? But stuff comes up, go vote. We should have this race won on day 1 of early voting. I don't know who that race was. Maybe you can help me. 4 Republicans on Staten Island voted than Democrats. Was that the city council general? No, it was really primary, right? In the presidential primary? Okay. So I don't remember the last time, or if it ever happened, that more Republicans vote than Democrats, because usually on Staten Island with early voting and all that, we kind of get killed 2 to 1 almost all of the time. We've got that greater numbers. So we already see that the Democrats are suppressing their own votes. They're not going to the polls to vote, because what do they have to vote for? Okay? It's been a total disaster. It's been a disaster with the Secret Service protection of Donald Trump. It's been a disaster on the border. It's been a disaster with immigration. It's been a disaster with bail reforms. It's been a disaster with defund the police. There's really nothing that they have to run on, and we have so much that we can work with. So please, do whatever you can. You know, one of the other things, so I am not asking for a contribution, okay? So let's stop that one right there. But I am going to say, give a contribution to someone who is in a race. You know, whether it's me, whether it's the Flo, whether it's the city council, because that's what we need to get our message, to get our voice to be heard. Put up a sign if you can. You need to participate in some way at whatever level they should come from. But people say, you know, I vote on election day, and that should be enough. It's nowhere near close enough. There is so much more to do to get from where I'm standing here to November 5th. So let's go. Is there another question? Anybody? Yes. So if it is illegal, I don't believe that it is, right? But if it is illegal, nobody cares, and nobody's checking, and if we did get caught, who knows what's going to happen? What's that? Valid artistry. So so when I go walking door to door, there are times like the other day, I came across an old woman, and she said, I can't vote on election day. So I said, well, would you like me to come and get you to arrange your right? She said, no, I don't want to do that. I said, well, how about would you like me to get you a ballot? She said, no, I don't want to do this. Very crazy. I said, listen, if you want a ballot, I'll make sure that you get the ballot, and I will pick it up from you, and I will bring it to the polling place for you. That she was very comfortable with. Okay? So listen, you can bring a ballot, but I think what you're talking about is the videos we've all seen with people pulling up to a voting box, which is in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, and trying to shove 400 ballots in. Not legal.
What I was told, I heard, was correct. They say that they go to a nursing home and get a bunch of older folks, ballots.
I hear what you're saying. Listen, I really can't speak to that because I don't know what happens behind closed doors. You know, and I'm sure, you know, one of the jokes I say is that my greatest fear of death is voting Democrat. Right? So I don't know what happens. I will tell you that after the 2020 race, I worked for a group called Project Homicide. And Project Homicide was one of the private groups that was investigating voter fraud on behalf of Donald Trump. So that whole project was kind of a little bit of a mess internally, but I was assigned to Las Vegas. And there were a lot of rumors. And like the culinary union made sure that everybody got 2 ballots. And this union in Vegas is definitely anti-Trump. But what is Trump going to be zinging with no taxes on your wages, on your tips, right? So we'll see what happens. So let me give you an example of what I saw. Now, is this enough to turn an election? I don't know. But you do have to compare your signatures in some states. Not everybody is as liberal as New York State, where you can just walk in and say, I want to vote, and here's my address. So when you walk in, you have to sign your card, and someone looks at it with a computer and tablet and makes a comparison to the signature that was uploaded from the Department of Motor Vehicles. Now you can set that comparison to a 100% match, a 70% match, 40%, whatever you want. So the system is supposed to take the scan, and the scan is supposed to be, I think, a minimum of 400 DPI. Right? Again, I'm not really sure, but I'll just use this as an example. So the signature has to come up from the DMV at least 400 DPI to go into the voting system. Well, the Department of Motor Vehicles only scans in 200 DPI, meaning 0 signatures can be checked. They had to move it to 0. Okay, now how do you not know this? Okay, so there were plenty of other things, that I saw, but so what you might hear in another state does not necessarily mean here in New York. One of the things we voted for in Albany is that if a ballot is received too late, right, by the board of elections, or if an envelope is opened or tampered with, or something like that, it's supposed to be disqualified, but not anymore. Right? So it's really amazing, and people say, how does this happen? Staten Island, I was reading some of the recent news articles, we are literally the red-headed stepchild to New York City because we are the red borough. So there's really not much more that we can do on Staten Island. We've taken the majority of the seats. I'm sure we're going to take the DA's office when the man stops down. He's probably going to be the last island-wide Democrat elected in a very, very long time. So that's kind of good news. But your friends, your family, who here comes from another borough? Just one, two, a couple of people? All right, you need to get on the phone if you're from Brooklyn or Queens or whatever, and we got to start talking to people. What do you do? How can you keep voting for Democrats? How can you keep voting? It's a super majority in Albany. So what that basically means is no matter how we vote, we're automatically going to lose. Until you have some balance, not as many R's as you have E's, that's when negotiations begin. So I think on Staten Island, we're doing a great job. Listen, last night, you saw our congresswoman sitting behind President Trump for the whole evening. We are taking the fire and the heat to the Democrats here. That we have to really spread that word, and we have to go to other governments. So I don't want to probably talk a little too much. Sorry for that. But let you continue to eat. And if you have any questions, I'd be very happy to talk. You want to mingle throughout the evening. Take a photograph here with President Trump, post it online so other people see it. And enjoy your evening, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Senator. And you really got to check out the video that he went viral over the weekend. He really made the guy from NBC shake. He was really scared of our assemblyman, so you really have to check it out. Also, I want to acknowledge two people in the back. Anthony Andrulli and Michael Capitelli. Michael Capitelli is our Republican Commissioner of Staten Island. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming. Anthony Andrulli is our Deputy Clerk. Thank you for coming. So, enough of this, let's mingle, let's eat, drink a little bit, watch President Trump speak. As President Trump said back in 2016 when he visited Staten Island, that's a great place, he said. So let's make America great again. And then also two things, there's press going around, so they have some questions. If you want to answer some of them, please feel free. And have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Tom from Staten Island. I'm not even going to get into the top five. I'm only going to get into the top one, and that's the border, and that's it. I could go on, but I won't. I think he can best address the issues because he's already done it once before. No violence. I've already had this conversation this week actually with somebody, and no violence at all. The role of the media should be truth, and that's it. That's the bottom line.
Thank you so much.
Okay. The top five national issues, what I understand, immigration, taxes, that's why I told you. That's what the two thing comes to mind.
Okay.
How do you think Mr. Trump can best address this issue? Yes, he has the technique to deal with this. The same he did when he was president.
he can do it again. And then, what would you say when you want to think violence is the answer, regardless of the other views? That is bad, because that is not the answer. We are living in a society with different opinions, so we need to deal with that. I can respect you, but you need to respect me. Then what is the role of media? How can media companies adapt to better fulfill this role? They should be, because what is happening with the media now, they are not the same they were before. You're supposed to provide the news to the people, know what you think, know your personal opinion to the people, and that is not good. We need to start doing the same we did years ago. So just provide the news. This is the news. This is what, where, when, you know, and then people can decide.
Five top national issues.
As many as you want.
Immigration, inflation, medical. My big thing is immigration, though. Yeah, immigration is a big thing, and inflation, everything rising in prices, gases, shopping. Can't even buy food anymore. One bag you have like spend $200. It's crazy. But it'll get better.
I'm retired, so it's a struggle. Taxes, the property taxes, our food bill. This year, this time, I took a record, $5,000. I'm up to $8,000, so it was like 40%. Big potato chips, $4.99. For bread, $3.49. It's ridiculous. We were looking to buy a steak. It's kind of like that no matter where you go. You know, right? And I got my boys. I know what it is. We need
Structure. We need structure. We need structure. We need our police force to be respected, because it's not. There's way too much violence going on in the city and everywhere. It's just, and no one pays for their crimes. It's terrible. It's terrible. That's how I feel.
And what would you say to anyone who thinks that violence is the answer, regardless of their other views?
Violence is the answer? Definitely not. That's the worst possible answer anyone could ever say. You know, we need unity. We need to be unified as a country. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, wherever you're from, you just have to agree and get along and just try to make it work. This is totally out of control. I've never seen this like this country like this ever in my life. It's sad. It's very sad.
What do you guys think that is the role of media?
Well, I'm sorry to say, I'm very upset with the media only because they don't tell you everything, and they only tell you the worst parts of things, and they don't tell you the truth. They're very deceitful, and it's a shame. It really is. I mean, years ago, you would look at the news and you know what's going on. Now it's like like, well, you're not really sure because one channel tells you one thing, another channel tells you another, and then what you see is you just see the hate between how they just treat the Republicans and it's just not what the media should be like. They should just tell us what's going on in the country, and that's it. We don't need to, oh, well, we hate these people. That's not what our life is about. You're bringing violence, you're bringing racism, which we didn't have as bad as they make it seem. You're bringing it all back. We want to go forward. And that's about all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Sam was saying that you're going to be registering to vote Republican today because we're breaking the So what does it tell us about that? What that experience was like?
I've always been a Trump fan, since his apprentice show. Before that, my father always admired him, so president or not, I love him. I just love him, and of course, I'm always gonna be with him, regardless. I think he's great. He's an amazing guy. I'm super proud to become American, so I can totally support him.
And what's your first name?
Lizette.
Lizette?
Yeah.
Thank you, Lizette. Thank you so much.
We've lost more
I'll give you a big
Americans.
thumbs up. I'm so sorry. Let me get this.
World War II.